bukan sahaja bahasa Indonesia ya, tapi juga bahasa-bahasa yang lain yang mana itu merupakan satu keperluan asas ya, because whenever we go, di mana saja kita berada, we have to communicate ya. So in other words, anyone who major in mechanical engineering, they can work in many industrial sectors. And if they want to further specialize in aeronautical engineering, they could easily do that. So the switching is not that difficult. As what we can see, especially in America, in order for you to prosper, in order for you to help the country to prosper, you have to be an entrepreneur. Is Elon Musk.
Yes.
Yeah, she's a physicist by training, but if you can see his area of business, it covers everything. Yeah, from the satellite business, the rocket,
electrical cars.
Yeah.
So, as a lawyer, I'm very inclined to take your opinion. So, Sukhabumi is located on a seismic zone, and we are always experiencing small earthquakes, always in fear of a big one. How do you think, sir, that this mechanical engineering can help make our lives safer and better in places like Sukhabumi? Salam Namaste and welcome to this week's Genusian podcast, where we bring you the latest news, events and most happening people at Nusa Putra University. This week, I'm proud to have as my guest Professor Abd Rahman Abdul Rahim, who is a Professor of Mechanical Engineering at the Department of Mechanical Engineering at Nusa Putra University. Professor Abd Rahman Abdul Rahim did his undergraduate engineering degree in mechanical engineering from the University of Indiana in United States of America, his Master of Engineering from University of Warwick in the United Kingdom, and his PhD in mechanical engineering from the University Technology Malaysia. Professor Abd Rahman has many years of teaching experience in different universities, both in Malaysia and internationally. And I'm proud to welcome Professor. Welcome to Nusa Putra University Genusian podcast.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure for me to be involved in this podcast. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So you have been here and you are from Malaysia. So let me just start by asking you, how do you find Indonesia? How similar or dissimilar is it from Malaysia?
To be honest, there are a lot of similarities. The language, I would say perhaps 70-80% are similar in terms of the word. The food, we have nasi padang in Malaysia as well. So in terms of adjustment, it doesn't take that long for me to adjust, except perhaps maybe during the midday, it's a bit hot here as compared to Malaysia. And in the morning, it's a bit chilly.
Sir.
Yes, which is very nice actually.
In fact, Sukhabumi, West Java, it's a very beautiful place. I hope you also see the places around here. We have Situgunung and other places, sir. And yes, sir. So you use the Malaysian language, Melayu. How similar would you say is it with Indonesian? Can you give an example of it, sir?
In general, very, very, very similar, except for maybe the accent and perhaps certain words that they use, which is a bit different. Because Indonesia were colonized by the Dutch, so some of the words actually are Dutch words, whereas Malaysia was colonized by the British, so we are more into the use of English words.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let me ask you about your department of mechanical engineering. So nowadays there is a sort of reticence among students from joining the core branches of engineering like mechanical engineering. How would you say, sir, that mechanical engineering stands today in terms of future and scope of employment for students, and what are the prospects for a student who is interested to join mechanical engineering and wants to become a mechanical engineer in the future?
Well, the field of mechanical engineering is very broad. Can start from design to making the prototypes, testing the product or the device, all the way to manufacturing, all the way to maintenance, which require mechanical engineers. And mechanical engineering is actually the foundation of many other engineering fields. For instance, automotive engineering, aeronautical engineering, marine engineering, manufacturing, etc., which the foundation is mechanical engineering. So in other words, anyone who major in mechanical engineering, they can work in many industrial sectors. And if they want to further specialize in aeronautical engineering, they could easily do that. So the switching is not that difficult for mechanical engineers to be aeronautical engineers, automotive, or even marine engineers, or even oil and gas. Because I do know quite a number of oil and gas engineers who are formally educated in mechanical engineering, and they are involved in oil and gas, and they work all over the world.
So you'd say the future is bright for mechanical engineers, sir?
Yes, it's very bright, but again, as in other engineering fields, there is always new technologies involved. So now when people are talking about artificial intelligence, so a mechanical engineer has to keep up the knowledge with AI as well. But again, in AI, the programmers, they are just doing the programming, but the content come from mechanical engineers if it is related to mechanical engineering. One example is the what is called virtual reality, augmented reality, whereby the computer engineers, they are able to program graphically to show what is inside the machine. But to know what is inside the machine, you need mechanical engineers. Yeah. So that is why mechanical engineers has to always update their knowledge to be current with the present development in order for them to be employable. But nonetheless, still in some areas it require basic mechanical engineering. For instance, in this building, when you want to design the building, you have to design the air conditioning systems, you have to design the lift, you have to design the firefighting systems, and this involves mechanical engineers.
So even an interface with civil engineering?
Exactly, yes, very much so, very much so, yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, in fact, you are a specialist in systems design and entrepreneurship. How would you rate the scope for entrepreneurship for engineering students of mechanical engineering, sir?
Okay, nowadays, most of the mechanical engineering students, what they have in their mind is that to graduate and work for someone else.
Yes, sir.
Which is nothing wrong with that. But on the other hand, as what we can see, especially in America, in order for you to prosper, in order for you to help the country to prosper, you have to be an entrepreneur.
Exactly.
One example is Elon Musk.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
she's a physicist by training,
Sir.
but if you can see his area of business, it covers everything. Yeah, from the satellite business, the rocket,
electrical cars,
EV,
and also computer,
AI,
Twitter.
Yes, and computer, the social media as well. So it requires some kind of technical mind to be doing this kind of things. Another good example is Steve Jobs.
Sir.
Yeah, so he is, in fact, Steve Jobs is not even a graduate,
Sir.
but to have a technical mind, it really helps him to become a very, very successful businessman, as what we know.
So that's really something insightful. In fact, it is important to develop the scientific temper and have a technical mind. And that is what Nusa Putra University aims to do, sir. Instill the scientific temper among its students. Sir, how would you say the infrastructure and studies at Nusa Putra University are for training future engineers with scientific temper?
Okay, being a new university, I cannot compare with other established universities. It would be very unfair. I came from UTM. We have like 100-year-old history, and I was also attached as an inviting lecturer at Meiji University. So of course, these are very established university which has a lot of fund and a lot of industrial sponsors. So the facility is perhaps comparable to the one in the West. But nonetheless, being a new university is also very good for Nusa Putra because it can chart its future based on the present technology. I mean, if you were doing something like what everybody else is doing, then in business it's called a red ocean. So why don't go for a blue ocean in kind of technology that everyone is at par now? So I think Nusa Putra has a good opportunity to be as good as what other universities are doing if the present research is equivalent to what others are presently doing. Yeah. And here in Sukabumi, we can see the economic activity is very much agriculture based. So the modernization of agriculture could be one of the focal area. Of course, you can blend that with artificial intelligence and other newer technologies like IoT. So, for instance, the use of drones probably one of the area that can be explored. Yeah, so it's a new area. You can buy the drones from China, but the programming is something which is unique, and this is one of the area that could be explored.
I want to ask you regarding the employment of our students, because that is one area of concern which we always find our students asking about. So I wanted to know what would you say is the scope for employment abroad, maybe in Malaysia, the ASEAN countries, or elsewhere in the world, for students of mechanical engineering from Nusa Putra University?
In terms of employment, in Malaysia, we do have an employment law that only people of certain skill sets are allowed to be employed in Malaysia, skills which we are lacking. I think this is a common policy all over the world. But nonetheless, in order for anyone to be employed in Malaysia, even though the national language is in Bahasa Melayu, which is quite similar to Bahasa Indonesia, but you have to have the communication skills. In fact, in all multinational corporations in Malaysia, the medium of communication is always English. So that skills is something that everyone must have in order to be employed in Malaysia. And the other one is a special skills that you have that others does not have. For instance, computing skills or something in design, some analytical skills. So that would open up the opportunity not just to work in Malaysia, but to work in other countries as well. That is my personal opinion. And the other one is the entrepreneurship, as what you was asking previously. I think entrepreneurship for the student has to be exposed at the early years. Exactly. So when they first came into the university, if they are exposed to entrepreneurship, at least at the back of their mind, oh yeah, I want to be a businessman, and not just any ordinary businessman, but a businessman who are involved in technology, in producing a certain technology or developing certain technology to be used locally. For instance, I watched one movie, it's a true story in India. So this guy, he was born in a village where most of the people are doing weaving. And over the years, he managed to develop a weaving machine, a low-cost weaving machine. And now he's a very successful businessman selling weaving machines for people in India to use. So instead of the traditional weavers. So likewise, the same thing can also be done here. Indonesia, generally speaking, is still very much agriculture-based. So if the students are able to come up with certain ideas to modernize some of this agricultural technology, so perhaps they can become a very successful businessman. Yeah.
So we were just talking about the spirit of entrepreneurship and the interface of mechanical engineering, especially strength of materials, which is a subject, and civil engineering, and how mechanical engineering can help in the development of the region of Sukabumi and Indonesia in general. So, as a lawyer, I'm very inclined to take your opinion. So, Sukabumi is located in a seismic zone, and we are always experiencing small earthquakes, always in fear of a big one. How do you think, sir, that this mechanical engineering can help make our lives safer and better in places like Sukabumi, sir?
I was in Japan for almost every year since 2011. So in Japan, sometimes in Tokyo, I'm talking about Tokyo itself, sometimes you can feel the tremor. So the moment you feel the tremor, you switch on your phone, you go to the apps, you know exactly what is the Richter scale like.
Sir.
And that is one thing, the early warning systems.
Sir.
So early warning systems is something in which the engineers can further develop. So even in some remote kampung or village,
Sure.
you know, if they have this early warning system, so And this early warning system is probably connected to a specially developed apps so that the kampong people or the village people, they know exactly what is happening in terms of the seismic movement. And the other one, engineers, especially civil engineers in Japan, most of the engineering department, they specialize in designing buildings, furnitures that are able to cater to this earthquake. So that is where the mechanical or civil engineers can actually work together. Another example of research from major university, immediately after the earthquake, there's a lot of sulfur gas being released. So sometimes people are trapped, even the rescuers were trapped. So in order to send the rescuers, you have to know the toxic level of this particular gas. So instead of sending humans, what the researchers at major university did, they developed a robot that they fit with this particular sensor to pick up whatever toxic gas around that area, as well as the level of the toxic gas, so that the rescuers know when is the safe time for them to go in. So this is again some of the research that can actually be done in order to improve the livelihood of the people around Sukabumi.
So you have been here teaching students since some time, and you were emphasizing on English as the future of employment internationally. So how would you say that our students can improve in English, and how can they improve in studies, their performance?
Okay, number one, they have to interact more in English with the international lecturers, as well as to mingle more with the international students. This is the informal way of improving the students' English. The other one is to enroll in British Council Language Center, which is available here, to have a formal training in English. English is probably the most widely spoken business language in the world. So in order for anyone to work anywhere in the world, one has to command a very good English. No doubt about that. One of the reasons why I am employed here is of my ability to communicate in English, even though not as good as a native speaker, but at least I can get the message across. So again, English is something which is very, very useful. I have the opportunity to share my experience with some students as invited lecturer in China, in Switzerland, in Japan, as well as here in Indonesia. But again, the mode of communication is always in English.
Exactly.
Yeah. So English to have a good command of English, you can go very far.
Yes. Yeah. So in fact, Nusa Putra University has the British Council English Center, and all students are welcome to join it. In addition to the English language, British Council English Language Center, we also have courses which are offered in Spanish, German, and Japanese, Chinese, other languages at the university. So we are actually trying to prepare globally employable students, so not just speaking English, but also they can do courses in other languages, so that the doors of employment open up.
Exactly. Just to share another anecdote. When I was in Japan, of course on Friday, like what it is today, the Muslims, we have to go to the masjid to pray, solat Jumaat ya. Jadi biasanya kalau hari Jumaat itu, kalau di Tokyo ada satu masjid ya, namanya di Yoyogi Uehara. Masjidnya agak gede, agak besar. It's a Turkish mosque. Jadi kebanyakan Jumaat ya, people who come to pray at that particular masjid are Indonesians. So these are Indonesian students who are under scholarships, mostly at magister or PhD level in Japan. And some of them, they speak very good Japanese because the professors doesn't know that much English. Yeah, so I believe the student pick up Japanese somewhere. Probably they go to some kind of language training center. And some of the students communicate in English very well. Okay, so again, in order for anyone to pursue study overseas, language is something which is very important. Bukan sahaja bahasa Indonesia ya, tapi juga bahasa-bahasa yang lain, yang mana itu merupakan satu keperluan asas, because whenever we go, di mana saja kita berada, we have to communicate. So language is one of the bridge for you to communicate with others. And for me personally, I think English is perhaps the most important one.
So in fact, when you're talking about the most, we have the ICCED conference for the engineering department, mechanical engineering, and this year it is being held in Jeddah and later on in Japan, sir, as you said. So we hope that the students of mechanical engineering, the professors who join the Jeddah conference can do the Umroh, as well as in Japan they can experience the mosque that you were speaking about in Japan, sir. So thank you very much for coming to the show.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
You're most welcome. Terima kasih. Okay, done.
We at Nusa Putra University try to bring the best professors from across the world. Professor Abd Rahman Abdul Rahim is an example of an excellent professional who is at Nusa Putra University to train students. We welcome everyone to join us. Thank you very much. Till we meet again.